Ever gotten done lining your lips and thought, what is the point? My lips just disappeared. They look half the size. And maybe you have heard the rhetoric out there that once you reach a certain age, you can't wear brighter or darker lip colors. Well, not only am I going to show you some proper techniques of how to line your lips so that your lips look fuller, even with a deeper lip liner color. And we're going to do it without overlining our lips and without putting brown contour around the edge of the lips. I'll talk about that more in a moment. But I'm also going to be sharing some tips with you in case you struggle to get a nice even line around your lips. Maybe you have hand tremors, maybe you have dexterity issues due to arthritis or whatever. I've got some great tips that are going to help you out. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. Before I take this lip liner off and start fresh, I just want to point out a couple of things I did wrong. I personally think that sometimes it's easier to see the right way of doing something if you first see the wrong way of doing it. So we're starting with the wrong way. So what did I do here? First of all, I took the lip liner and I went on the inside edge of my lip line and lined all the way across. You can see it's not real straight. I did my best. Here on the top, I really did not highlight my Cupid's bow hardly at all, but you'll see when my lips are closed, it looks like my lower lip is kind of extending a little bit beyond the upper lip, which therefore makes my upper lip look even smaller. Let's go ahead and take this off and let's start with the right way to do this. The first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of a primer around the edge of the lips. Now I'm using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, which is actually an eyeshadow primer, but I have huge issues with my lipstick and lip liner and gloss bleeding past my lip lines. I also have a very uneven lip line. So because of those two issues, I use a product like this that helps cover the edge of my unevenness, but it also helps lock things in. If you don't have issues with bleeding, you can use a concealer or your foundation, but you want to make sure that you bring that all the way up to the edge of your lips. I do have a video specifically for preventing your lip liner and lipstick from bleeding, so I will list and link those videos in the description box down below. So I'm not going to get too much into those details because this video has a slightly different focus. So once you have applied the paint pot, it does come in a lot of different colors, or your concealer, you want to let that completely set down. You can even go in with a little bit of setting powder. You can use what's just left on your powder puff and just press that in around the edge of the lips. You don't want any extra moisture from your foundation or your concealer to seep into your lip products because that will break things down. Okay, so here we are, we have a blank canvas. Now the first step I'm going to do before applying lip liner, I'm going to go back to the old school way of getting a little bit of a hint of a lift on the upper lip, and that is by taking a highlighter shade right here on above the Cupid's bow. So you see your lip naturally has these little sections here that kind of jut out. And what I'm going to do, this is the $1 Billion Brows Brow Duo Pencil. It's concealer and highlighter. I think this is fantastic for under the brows. I use this for a lot of things, and this is one of them. I'm going to take the lighter shade, and you could do this with powder. You can do this with a shimmery highlight if you wish, but I love that this is creamy and no shimmer. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to draw a line right to meet the top of my Cupid's bow. And I mean, obviously I'm going to blend this out, but do you see how that automatically makes my lip look like it's been pulled up? Because highlighter brings things forward. So I am bringing this part of my lip forward. Now, I feel like the major trend right now that I see all of the makeup artists doing, all of the tips on fuller lips, is they are taking a contour powder or cream and going into the top part of the lip here and then along the lower lip to create a shadow. Every time I do that, no matter what product I use, it looks like I have dirty lips. And so it is just not a look that ever looks correct on me in person. It looks fine on a video, but for me, my life is lived in person, up close and personal, and it's just not something that I feel comfortable in. So if you like that method, feel free to do it, but I think this is a much easier way just to get a slight little lift above the lip. All right, for lip liner. Now, I have a plethora of favorites. Charlotte Tilbury, Natasha Denona, those just to name a few. However, recently, the brand Tilt just came out with some brand new lip liners, and they sent me all 5 shades. I will be swatching these on an Instagram reel. But if you're not familiar with this brand, Tilt is all about not only creating great formulas that are clean, vegan, cruelty-free, all of that, but the primary focus is to make the packaging user-friendly for those who have dexterity issues. So if you have arthritis in your hands, the founder herself has psoriatic arthritis. She is all about making packaging that is easy to open. Even the outer box packaging is so ingenious. So with that being said, here is their new lip liner. This is called the Easy Way Effortless Lips Lip Liner. And I have a couple shades that I am toying with using. So I had the shade Mocktail Moment on at the beginning of this video. I think I'm actually gonna go in with this nice dark brown. I haven't even worn this one yet. It's called From Scratch. But you see, this packaging is totally unique for a lip liner. I've not seen anything like this on the market. It has a nice kind of finger resting point. And what I love about this is helping you figure out where you should properly hold a lip pencil. If you're holding your lip pencil up here and trying to draw on your lip line, that's going to cause problems. So even if you don't have this lip liner yet, the first thing I will tell you is you need to hold your pencil closer to the middle of the pencil. Next, what we're going to do is we are not going to try and draw our whole lip line all at once. We're going to go in small sections. So I'm going to start off actually with the Cupid's bow. We're going to draw an X. So I'm starting at the top of my Cupid's bow, and I am being careful to not go on the inside, but just right on the edge of that. And I'm going to draw a line down. Next, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then you can make the little curve around. So you should have something that looks like this. All right, now I've seen lots of other tips of where they're drawing lines here and there and everywhere. We're gonna go now down to the bottom lip. And I want you to find the edge of your natural lip line. And we're not overlining, but we are gonna go on the outer edge of the lower lip line. And I just want you to draw a small line in the center of the bottom lip. And feel free to go back if you need to deepen it up a little. So we kind of look like one of those Cupid dolls, you know, if we just colored in this part of the lip. If you're old enough to remember or to know what a Cupid doll is, leave that comment down below. Okay, next we are going to, and this is super important, if your upper lip is slightly smaller than your lower lip. I feel like this has continued to become a little more pronounced for me as I've gotten a little older. So my upper lip is slightly less full than my lower lip. So what I'm going to do is I am not going to bring my lip liner all the way to the corner. I'm going to stop right where that fullness of the upper lip kind of starts to fade. Okay, so I'm going to put a little dot here. I should say a little line. And on the other side. And if you want, you can even kind of draw a downward line here just to kind of give you a little guide, okay? Then we're going to go from this point on the upper lip and we're going to connect it to that Cupid's bow, and we are going up like this, and that in and of itself is going to create a more rounded look, a fuller lip, rather than going down. When you go down, you just tend to go inside the lip and it makes it look smaller. So we're going to go from the outside up. Do you see that? And you can go in with a light hand initially just to map it out and then go over it to deepen it up. Now, a tip that I have for you is do this with your elbow resting on a desk or a table or your vanity. It's a lot harder in the car, especially if somebody is driving and you're going over bumps. So do this at home, or at least practice at home. Put your elbow on a table so you can rest and gently draw a straight line. Next, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to connect these lines on the lower lip line. And as you are tracing back, you can gently just make sure that you are refining that line as you go over it. And you should have something that's looking like this. Now from here, there are a couple of different things that I'm going to do that I would recommend. If you don't want to end up with a lip line look throughout the day, I always recommend just feathering in the edge of the lips of the lip liner. But we're not going to feather in the entire one. We're just going to feather in from the outer edge right here. Now it's time for a lipstick, and I am a girl who loves a good gloss, but hang with me here. We're going to start first with a matte lipstick. I'm not using a matte liquid lipstick, so this will transfer, but I feel like this is the best of both worlds. This is the MAC matte lipstick. This is one of their new Maximal lipstick formulas, and this shade is Cool Teddy. I have really been enjoying this shade. It mixes well, blends well with a lot of different lip liner colors. Now, what I love about using a matte lipstick like this formula is you can go all the way to the edge and kind of cover over that lip liner a little bit without worrying about it starting to bleed past the lip lines. But if you're into a glossy lip, hang with me here. I have one final tip for you. Before we get there though, let's go back and we're going to take a look at our lip line with our lipstick. If there's any areas that you feel like maybe your lip liner is standing out a little bit from your lipstick color, just go back with your lip liner and gently fade it in. You can also use a lip brush. This is hard for me to talk while I'm doing lips, you know? I'm used to just talking while I work. Okay, what do you think? Let me pop up on the screen what my lips looked like before and now after. Yes, I was wearing a brighter red color, but this also is a deeper color, and yet still my lips do not look smaller. In fact, hopefully you'll agree they look a lot larger. Now the final tip for you. I know we all hear and see, I watch the reels, I see the videos saying matte lips are aging. Don't do it, do glossy lips. And I personally do love a good glossy lip, but not all glosses on top of lipsticks with a lip liner, sometimes that causes problems. Either the lip gloss wears away quickly or it does start bleeding. So one of the longest wearing glossy lip combos you can do is do what I did here, and then go in with the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. I have this in a bunch of different flavors. I like to rotate them throughout the year, so I'm just now pulling out the candy cane. It's a little early, but my fall ones I used up last year. So all I'm going to do is take a little tiny dab of my pinky in here, and I'm going to tap this on the center of my lower lip. Press my lips together. And you can stop here, or you can add just a little more if you wish. Now, I first saw Tati do this, and she said it lasted for hours, and I was like, what? No, because gloss on top of a lipstick, it just usually wears away pretty quickly, but this does last a long time. It's a thicker product, but it's not sticky, if that's even possible. Somehow it is. So we are done. Our lips look nice and full. They look healthy. We have that nice little bit of shine. There's not even any shimmer in here. So I know some of you don't like shimmer. If you're somebody like me who loves shimmer, feel free to add your favorite shimmery lip gloss. It might not last quite as long. Or you can go in with a frost lipstick. MAC makes some of my favorite frosted lipsticks. O is one of my favorites for fall. I used that in a recent video. Also Plum Dandy, Fabby, those are all ones that have a little bit of a frost in them, and that is a great formula. And then you can just pop on a little bit of a gloss and you're ready to go. Now, some of you might be a little scared to have a gloss on with a lipstick because, you know, you're smiling and sometimes it gets on your teeth. One tip I have for you, I know we've probably all seen the one where you put your finger in and pull it out. That always just grosses me out. I mean, you know, if you're out in public, I mean, you're not gonna be putting a dirty finger in your mouth. So something I will sometimes do is just take a Q-tip. You're not gonna use this part, you're gonna use the center part. Roll it between your lips, and you see, you get any excess that has been collecting there, but you don't get the fuzz of the Q-tip in your lips. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. As always, check the description box down below. I will have links to the products I showed you. I would definitely recommend checking out these new Tilt lip liners. They are really creamy, but do last a really long time on the lips. I will also list and link a couple of my other videos that I have done about lipstick bleeding and all of the extra tips if that is a problem that you specifically encounter, as I do on a daily basis. So thank you as always so much for watching. If you have time, check out this video about underpainting for makeup. That's what I did for my foundation and all of my skin prep today, and I am loving this technique. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.